Okay, good night, everyone. Archwell here from TTDC, and welcome to the TTDC podcast. I'm joined here by Trinity,
Hey, good day, everybody.
and this will be the first podcast in a series that would be covering events, local Dota 2 tournaments, as well as regional international tournaments and Dota 2 news. So this podcast will be primarily focusing on a mid-of-feed tournament, which we would have done over the weekend, and that concluded last night. So in this tournament, it's an amateur event that focused on the lesser skilled slash lower MMR players of our community. And we had a few teams, quite a few teams applying to enter the tournament. And we put a limit at 8 teams. So the teams that entered were Five Slight, Savages, BDD, Team 5 Carries, Bush Lords, Team RF, Team Redman to Suffer, and Team Admin, right? So even though we had other players who were not in the bracket trying to join, we had to limit it to just the amateur players. And we would cover that exactly why. We did this tournament in a double elimination, sorry, best of one, best of two. What am I saying? Best of two. It's a best of ones double elimination format. Usually we do tournaments in a best of three double elimination format because we had some time constraints and we wanted this tournament to run as smoothly as possible because a lot of these guys were new and Flu should explain as to why we choose this.
Right, so we did this amateur tournament. Basically, after GamesCon, we noticed a couple of things, right? Not only after GamesCon, but over the past year or two of throwing some tournaments and so on. So a lot of lower level players, they don't come out to tournaments because they see NLD and Doombuggy, No Chill, teams that you've seen playing across over the years, right, in tournaments all the time, and they always come first, second, third, and so on. And so the lower level players, they see that, they say they can't win, they don't join, or they end up joining and then they chicken out, I guess you could say, right? And then they drop out and whatnot. So we decided to throw this amateur tournament to give them a chance to um, play in a tournament, get experience, figure out things that work, things that don't work, and so on, right? When starting this tournament, the community actually responded very well. A lot of people showed interest. People 4K, 5K, 2K, 1K, 3K across the span of skill sets, right? However, we did limit the the MMR so that only a certain unexperienced, right? MMR unexperienced. So basically only a certain high level of MMR could join the tournament, as well as any teams that previously would have placed or competed in previous tournaments would not have been allowed to enter. So we actually had we actually had probably about 9 or 10 teams that entered. However, we could only accommodate to 8, so only the first 8 teams got to actually enter the tournament, right? Um, Now, Shannon did say that it was a best of one double elimination as opposed to a best of 3. We wanted to complete this event in a timely manner, so we wanted to do it Friday, Saturday, and at most added Sunday as well. So we thought the best of ones would be the best way to do that. If we had done the best of 3s or even a group stage or any other kind of tournament format, then definitely this tournament would still be going on.
Yeah, that's true because these guys, as I said, these guys they're new to it. Even if they may not be new to the format, they're new to doing events with us. So the ones who would have had experience, they know, okay, we usually try to get this done or that done in this time frame. And you don't want to push that on new guys who don't know what's going on. They probably don't even know how to join the lobby or even. So this would be a good introduction to them. And then for the next event, they would know, okay, this is the procedure. We could actually run a best of 3, get these games done in one night, knock out most of the event. So going
Right. Sorry about that. Quite tired. Um. Right. So, how was this event?
to me, I think it was pretty good. For as I said, for the first time, a lot of newcomers. And the first night, that was a Friday night, we got half of the tournament played, which was 7 games. It's 14 matches in all. And we got 7 matches played, which was pretty good, even though we could have gotten more. But obviously, some of the members had some obligations and so on. So that part was pretty good. We didn't have any disruptions in game in terms of um, breaking of rules or any comments going on then. And the only issue we had was just time, scheduling time. Members weren't as available as we thought they would have been.
Right.
And in terms of the reception, it was pretty good, as mentioned before. And I'm hoping going on to the next event, the reception will be even greater. So now we're gonna have a few members from the teams that participated join us to discuss and give us their views on the event. So as they come in, I'll introduce them. And we're not bringing in players from every team that participated in the event because some of them, even though they participated on teams, they themselves have experience. So joining us now is Jova and Mustafa. Jova is from Team Bush Lords, and Mustafa is from Team Private Slight. So good night, guys.
Good night, good night.
Hey, good
Okay.
night.
We also have Dylan. He's a Spartan from the winning team, Redman Do Suffer. Good night, Dylan.
Hi guys,
All
can you
right,
hear me?
guys. Yes, we can hear you. You hearing us, right?
Yeah, can you hear you now?
Yeah. Okay. So we just want to go over a bit about the tournament, get your thoughts and any questions you may have or comments you would have had on the tournament. So we'd like to know what your overall impressions of the Midfield tournament was. Anyone?
I'll go first.
Yeah, go ahead.
I honestly I'm not a active member of the Trinidad and Tobago DotA community, but
Mm-hmm.
it was fun to see what the 2K to 3K, well 3.6K players look like.
Mm-hmm.
I play a lot competitively, but my MMR is quite low. So this was actually a change of pace. It was easier than normal, but it was fun, a lot of fun.
Okay. Joba?
Yeah, I would agree. It was also fun. Just a little technical difficulties, but it was acceptable because it was the first of the event, and it was pretty interesting seeing how many people turned out because I didn't really expect to knew so many people
Mm-hmm.
in Toronto and Trinidad,
No,
especially.
why you think was that so many people turned out?
I think because it was they actually had a chance of winning, so
Mhm.
because
That was the hope.
like more seasoned players, and yeah, it was more inviting for them. And yeah, it just looked like because oh, you had a chance.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I hope to see more.
Mustafa?
The open event was really well run, apart from that wait we had on Saturday. But again,
Was that?
as Shiva said,
Yeah, a bit.
apart from the wait on Saturday, apart from the wait on Friday, sorry, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But to show your pictures and future tournaments, and it was fun. It encouraged me to start to play more Dota.
Mm-hmm.
Hopefully into future events.
So you're saying that the was it the scheduling that was the issue?
I'm not sure what went on Friday, but we had a bit of a wait. But apart from that, it was really well run.
Okay. And so this is the first time we're seeing a lot of you all in tournaments because we've been having tournaments off and on, if not us, other entities, over the past 2, almost 3 years. So what was the reason? How come you all never entered tournaments before, and how come you all decided to enter this one?
I now started to play about less than a year now, so and I saw one of my friends share it on Facebook,
Right.
and that's where I found it. But otherwise, I would not have known that such a community existed in Trinidad at least.
So you didn't have any previous knowledge that
No,
this was going on.
no, I didn't.
What about you, Dylan? Dylan? Okay, I guess Dylan is not hearing us. But and I know Jova would have participated in events before, and so he's not really new to the scene. His team, he played on a team that was in GamesCon this year, maybe earlier this month, and they actually came second with his team. So, Dylan, you hear me?
I started to play more competitive recently, and like within the last year, and some friends they contacted me and they are part of the TTDC DotA community. Well, more active than I am, and they contacted me and asked me if I wanted to be part, and I said sure, why not? And well, ended up here being the off laner. It was
Okay.
nice.
Mm-hmm. So you all actually ended up winning the tournament. Do you all think that you would go on to win, or you wasn't sure going in?
No, it in everybody else's mind. They were more than sure they were gonna win, but that game where we lost versus team admin, usually
Against
one or
us?
yeah, usually one or two things go wrong in life at some point, right? But in that
Mm-hmm.
moment, five different things went wrong at the same time on our end, and despite it
Right.
all, we still give it all.
Okay, that's good. That's good to hear. So, as we mentioned, this will only be the first in a series of events, right? So we want to continue doing tournaments focused towards this bracket, as well as our usual tournaments, which would be open to the other players or the higher skill players. We might even do one in between where we might raise the bracket above 36, but below, let's say, 5K or something. So you'll have some skilled players, but not really good players coming in.
No, you should
So
split it from 3K to 5K.
yeah, something like that
Okay.
we would do. And so would we be seeing you guys in the future tournaments, whether it be the amateur or if you all qualify for the other tournaments?
More than likely, you'd see my team.
All right. Well, that's good. All right, guys. Anything else you all want to say about Middlefield or about the local Dota scene that you weren't aware of?
Well, my team here is messaging me and they're telling me that they wanted to be known that they had an issue with how long they had to wait for like other players and it not
Mhm.
having any repercussions for having to wait an excessive amount of time and
All right.
stuff like that. They just think that should be improved on only and
That
enforcement.
that is something. As I was saying, I don't know if you all catch the when I was saying it what day, but that is something that we have been trying to fix for the longest while. Because what happens is we would schedule events and we would schedule the matches, and players would, whether it be the player's own fault or some technical difficulty, and the matches end up delaying. And what we tried, we actually created a infraction system and so on, and forfeits and whatnot. And what ended up happening is if you try to enforce it too much, you end up forfeiting half of the tournament, which kind of
It
defeats the
will
whole
not
purpose.
benefit them.
Yeah.
Okay, well
So
then there's nothing that can be done then.
there's stuff that can be done that we are working on, but we didn't want to enforce too much for this as it was the first time for a lot of you all,
You know,
and it would have ruined the first impression
okay.
as they get forfeit out of the entire tournament without even playing.
I wasn't watching the casting, but was there like an announcer?
For this tournament, no, we didn't have.
Oh,
Well, we didn't have a caster. Usually we would have there's a couple of guys who are regular casters, but they didn't come in for this event. They were unfortunately unavailable. So
you know that is what makes like every big tournament game a hype announcer.
Of course, yeah, because you're watching a stream or a game without a cast get boring quickly. But
So yeah,
yeah,
that's all
in
the
the
TT.
coming months, that would be something that you should be
How
seeing.
how often will these tournaments happen? Like
Well, we're
do
looking to do them at least once a month.
once a month?
Yeah. If it is that we're doing different types of tournaments, like we're doing both open and the amateur tournament, it might not be feasible to do both or more than two, maybe even three in 1 month. So I don't know if we would alternate yet, but it all depends on the response because it doesn't make sense to go ahead and announce these tournaments and then half the committee sign up for one and half the committee sign up for the other one. Might as well just find a medium and do one tournament where everyone can respond. Because as I said, we actually had more than 8 teams applying for this tournament. It's just we wanted to limit it to 8. So hopefully by the next time we will get around 12 to 16 teams.
Okay, no problem.
All right, guys. Thanks for joining us. And we hope to see more of you all in the future.
All right.
No
Pleasure.
problem. Thanks for having us.
All right. What was that, Mustafa?
Thanks for having me and my team.
All right. Okay. Well, goodbye for now.
Bye.
Good night.
Right. So we just had some of the members there from some of the teams that participated in the midfield this weekend. So as you would have heard, there are always some issues that come up with events that we're working on. And hopefully by the next event, if not the event after, we should have those issues rectified or at least make the best solution as possible. I think so, plus.
Yep, that sounds like a great plan. Right, so what do we have coming up in the future, Shannon?
All right, so as most of you all should know, if you all don't already know, the International 2017 is taking place in the coming weeks. The main event is from the 7th to the 12th. The group stage actually starts on Tuesday, which is next week, Wednesday. So
On Tuesday, which is next week, Wednesday.
Sorry. The 2nd. I'm reading here. Good pickup. Yeah. It starts on the 2nd of August, which is next week, Wednesday. And then the main event starts on the 7th. Right? For the last 2 years, we have had a pub stump in Trinidad to view the finals of the international. And this year, we're hoping to have another one. So if you don't know what a pub stump is, basically a pub stump is a gathering of like-minded DotA individuals who come together for a line basically, and you're taking the pub stump. So right now we're working on something, and in the coming days we will let you all know what that would be. So look out for some news on the upcoming pub stump. Bruce, I don't know if you could elaborate more on that.
Right. We are currently in talks of getting a location. One of them is more than likely possibly Island Bay Grill and Chill in One Road Brook. The other locations are still on standby, unsure yet as to where. But yeah, that would be that would be the 12th, which would be the grand finals day. I'm not entirely sure what time the grand finals begin, but definitely we will be somewhere for it.
Yeah, they usually they post the scheduled time late during the event, so hopefully we can get some early information to know exactly when, and we would let that information get that information out to you guys, right? So as long as that event is taking place, quite a few of you all expressed interest in T-shirts with the TTDC T-shirts that we had, Fliz and I had for the GamesCon tournament. So details on that would be posted as well if you're doing T-shirts, and you all can order the T-shirts, right? As I mentioned, the international. I would probably get some information out concerning what the streams would be, when the times of the matches and so on. I usually do up a document, so I'll try to get that out to you guys to keep abreast with TI because TI is the highlight of Dota for the year. So you can't miss that. I know some
Definitely
guys, some
not.
friends. Hmm.
Definitely can't miss that. Yeah, to see Team Secret come and win
Yeah,
everything.
boy. The West
And then
Indies are Dota, boy.
definitely. Oh
Oh,
boy.
I hope it will let us down again this year.
Right.
So that's most of it for now, guys. In the future, we'll be in the next podcast most likely we'll be discussing the last tournament which we would have done in partnership with ESCL. That would have been GamesCon um, earlier this month, and the winners of that would have been um,
NLD.
NLD. Yeah, they just left that NLD. They didn't change it this time. Yeah, NLD, and second place was Foskia, and third was No Chill. So we would try to have the CEO of ESL, that's Kevin, and we'd also bring in some of the members who played in the tournament. We'd also be discussing anything pertaining to TI7, whatever point in time, if there's any balance changes, what the meta is probably looking like, and further on the further podcast, we'll talk about our events that will be coming up, other international events, and any Dota events that's happening locally within the scene. Uh, Also, most importantly, we'll be doing that one live. So you all could actually interact with us directly and ask questions, and we can answer them on air. So looking forward to that. Anything else from you, Flus?
No, I think that covers just about everything.
All right.
Yep.
So until next time, I'll try it out.
Signing out.